Hi. Today we are going to read the very last chapter in our book that we've been reading. Mr. Granite is from Another Planet. Today we're going to find out whether or not they win for greenest school and if they get chocolate cake and if Mr. Granite is actually going to go back to his home planet. At the end of the video, I'm going to put my paper up so that you can see what mine looks like and try and fill out the rest of yours if you haven't. The only box I'm leaving blank is what was the resolution to the problem. And remember, resolution is just this fancy way of saying how do they solve the problem. So we said that our problem is that Aunt Arlo believes that Mr. Granite is from another planet, right? And he and his friends are going to try and prove it. So how did that end? What was the ending of the story? That's your job today, is to fill out that last piece of the puzzle. Okay, we are still reading Mr. Granite is from Another Planet. We are on chapter number 12, or 13, I'm so sorry. 13, chapter number 13, saying goodbye to Mr. Granite. If you're reading with me, it's page number 91. Okay, here we go. At 3 o'clock on Friday, the school secretary, Mrs. Patty, made an announcement that everybody had to go to the all-purpose room. When we got there, Mr. Klutz was up on stage. He was holding a piece of paper. "I have big news," Mr. Klutz told us. "Mr. Klutz has a big nose," I whispered to Ryan. "Are we the greenest school in the county?" asked Neil the nude kid. No, we came in second place," said Mr. Klutz. Everybody groaned because that meant we weren't going to get chocolate cake. "Second place?" Michael asked. "How could any school be greener than ours?" "Well," said Mr. Klutz, "the students at one of the other schools actually painted their school green. Too bad we didn't think of that." I looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at Michael, and then Michael looked at me. "So anyway, what's the big news?" asked Neil the nude kid. "The big news is that we've received a letter from the President of the United States," said Mr. Klutz. "Wow," we all said, which of course is Mom upside down. I stuck my tongue out at Andrea because she had thought it was a dumb idea to write the president. Mr. Klutz read my letter. "Dear students of elementary school, thank you for the nice letter. I just wanted to let you know that I do not have a nose attached to my foot. Sincerely, the president." It was cool to get a letter from the president, even if the letter made no sense at all. "I have more big news," Mr. Klutz told us. "Our third grade teacher, Mr. Granite, is from a planet named Etnarg, and he is going home today. So we're going to have a going away party with chocolate cake." "Yay!" everyone yelled. We went out to the playground where there was the biggest chocolate cake in the history of the world. Everyone was out there, even Jackie Mackey. Mr. Brad cut the cake and Mrs. Jaffe passed out pieces to everyone. Mr. Granite's spaceship was out in the field near the cows and it was covered with potatoes. "Moo," said some cows. Look at them eating their chocolate cake. Look at Arlo's face. Look, there she is with her baby. Oh. We stuffed our faces with so much cake, I kind of thought I was going to throw up. It was the greatest day of my life. After we finished, Mr. Granite put on a spacesuit and we went over to say goodbye to him. It was really sad. "I'm going to miss you kids," said Mr. Granite. "When I'm home, I'm going to name my Etnarg friends AJ, and Andrea, Ryan, Michael, and even Neil." "We'll miss you too," said Andrea. "I hope that after I'm gone," Mr. Granite told us, "that you'll keep saving energy and living a green life." "We will," everyone shouted. Everybody was sad to see Mr. Granite go. Emily cried, of course. So did some of the teachers. Mr. Granite waved to us as he climbed onto his spaceship. Everybody gathered around. Mrs. DeYonkers went over to the computer and announced the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, said Mrs. Yonkers. Begin microwaving the potatoes, she shouted. Our science teacher, Mr. Docker, flipped a switch, and nothing happened for like 1,100,000 seconds. Then there was a little ding sound. Steam started pouring out of all the potatoes. The whole field smelled like baked potatoes. Slowly, the spaceship began rising off the ground. "Liftoff!" yelled Mrs. Yonkers. "We have liftoff!" And that's when the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. One of the cows must have smelled of the baked potatoes because it came running towards the spaceship. They're all standing on the bottom of the cow. See him? Okay. The cow bumped right into it, and the spaceship was going crooked. "Houston, we have a big problem," shouted Mr. Docker. The spaceship zoomed to the left, and then it zoomed to the right. It was zigzagging back and forth in the sky over the school. "Abandoned ship," shouted Mrs. Yonkers. "Abandoned ship!" The door of the spaceship opened, and Mr. Granite jumped out. A parachute opened, and he floated back down to Earth. Well, he almost floated back down to Earth. On the way down, his parachute landed on the windmill and his ropes got all tangled up in it. Mr. Granite was caught on the windmill. He was spinning around and around like it was a real Kodak moment. You should have been there. Meanwhile, Mr. Granite's spaceship crash landed into a field across the street from our school. It exploded. Pieces of baked potato went flying everywhere. It was so cool. And we got to see it live and in person. Well, that's pretty much the way it went down. The windmill finally stopped turning, and the teachers were able to get Mr. Granite back on the ground again. Maybe Mr. Granite will build another spaceship. Or maybe he'll just stay on Earth and be our teacher. Maybe Andrea will stop recycling her toilet paper and put her head in a paper shredder. Maybe there won't be any more flying saucers in the teacher's lounge. Maybe Jackie Mackey will stop sucking her own toes. Maybe the president will trim the hair on the nose that's attached to his foot. Maybe Ryan will stop talking about E.T. Maybe they'll start selling laser beam pens at Staples. Maybe the sun will explode. Maybe Emily will stop running into cows. Maybe we'll find out what makes Mr. Granite tick. Maybe we'll be able to hear words like naked and Uranus without giggling. But that won't be easy. So on the bottom, that's the end of the book. But on the bottom, there's like all these things and places that you can visit, right? So it says, this story is supposed to be funny, but all of us should live green. So to find out, you can go to the EPA Global Warming Kids site, or the Green Squad, or Environmental Kids Club, or the Tree Muskers, or the Environmental Protection Agency. I'll put a picture of this at the end of the book, at the end of the video, in case you want to go and visit some of these sites. They're pretty cool, and you're home, you could definitely do it. Okay, the next time we get together, we're reading book number 4. I can't believe we're on 4. Book number 4. Are you ready? Coach Wyatt is a riot. I can't even wait. See you Monday.